Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Publishing Disrupted. I'm editor Mick Silva.
And I am publisher and literary agent David Morris.
And we are two former Christian publishing industry professionals, I can say it, learning to navigate the massive independent book market.
Yes.
Woohoo!
Yes. And I think as in disrupting publishing, we need to be unprofessional.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
More unprofessionalness.
Yes. I want to be unprofessional. Damn it.
Damn it. Cursing filth and foul and swears.
Well,
many dirty swears.
Yeah. I mean, but unprofessional can
No,
be
right.
just like creating chaos.
Yeah. Right. Instead of order.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
Let's break out of the boxes.
There's too much order for sure.
Well, and we went to too much Christian education and schooling and churching and all of this in our early years. So now we just want to mess things up.
Yeah. And we're kind of stuck in that pattern too.
Right.
You know, we just want to be children because we never got to be children, but now we can't stop being children. Oh my gosh,
that's so Gen X.
We can't actually grow up.
Our poor children, you know? It's just
exactly.
Who's going to be the adult here? Yeah, right. Anyway, we're already getting into it. Many recent changes in the industry have kind of forced us into this role of disrupting, and so we want to continue to disrupt in good ways the book publishing industry. But we also believe that books still matter, and more than ever in some ways. So basically having both shifted from traditional Christian publishing roles in specifically evangelical Christian, but we want to discuss challenges and opportunities we see for authors in this space. And as we continue to work with people like our guest in the last episode, Marla Tabiano, who are identifying some of the just, discomfort that they're experiencing, whether that's, having published in Christian publishing and now feeling a little bit outside of the mainstream, or feeling like, why am I being shunned or not even considered for publication? It's because maybe you're falling into a gap, between general and Christian markets that's always existed. In many ways, I think has gotten better by some, measures, but then has also gotten worse. And I think some authors I hear from all the time are continuing to see this and just extensions of that old, messy middle where you don't fit in the marketplace. So
the messy middle is always there. Yeah. And it's sometimes when I think there's no getting back to like chaos and organization, when there's no organization, you tend to think that your messy middle is small, but it could be that it's really big. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's one of the problems that we have is all the authors think that they're the only ones. Yeah. Or maybe it's just a small, offshoot of misfits. Right. It's not. Right. It's actually the majority. Which makes me want to come back to something we were talking about before the mics were turned on. And that is, so I'm going to try to keep identities really, really vague here. Smart. But, yes. But we were talking about how there's an author that we know. Well, let me just put it this way. There's an author that I was chasing early in my Lake Drive Books existence, who is a grandchild of a very, very well-known... You'd know the name. evangelical author. Yeah. And figurehead. Right. And that grandchild completely deconstructed. Yeah. I mean, everybody has their own sort of ways of defining that and their own paths and their own experiences that they're coming from and that they're going to. Sure. But completely outside of the world that this person was destined for, you would think. And then I just heard last night about a very similar situation, a grandchild of a very, very, very famous, iconic, evangelical figure and iconic from a book publishing point of view. Mm-hmm. Grandchild is not there. Is not in that world. Not in the camp anymore. Right. Yeah. Right. Anecdotes. Okay. Right. Sure. maybe outliers, statistical deviations off of the bell curve. No, not really.
I know, right? That's how I want us to be painted.
There's a new, I'm not sure, like nonprofit org that's forming for ex-evangelicals called 2012.
Okay.
Headed up by Heather Cronk. And I'm happy to name that out loud. Mm-hmm. And I get their emails, and I think she's been getting, she has read up the latest statistics.
Right.
I mean, we've all read about how the religious nuns, NONES, they're comprised of a number of different folks. Mm-hmm. You could even, but I think she's made extrapolations to how many people are actually ex-evangelical. And the number she's using is 15 million.
Wow.
Out of a country that's 330 million, 15 million is, I don't know what that is, 7%, but that's a significant number. And that's just something that's identified by social studies surveys and sort of very stark categories that we assign to these things.
That's self-identified, right? So that's people who are willing to acknowledge it.
Yeah, but willing to acknowledge it in a survey of some kind. Mm-hmm. Doesn't count all those who are going to church less frequently than they used to. Those who are kind of struggling and they're still in church. There's different ways of looking at it.
Sure.
Much wider movement going on. Than just, if you can put a number on something, it probably means, it's kind of like that thing where, if you're in a classroom and you have a question, it probably means a lot of other people have that question.
That's right.
Well, these 15 million are probably part of the one student who has the question and has raised their hand.
That's right.
So who else is there? Mm-hmm. So we're not alone. Getting back to what you were saying,
right?
Which I think I totally got away from.
No, I think. Well, just recapping, like prominent evangelicals having children and grandchildren that are defectors of a sort, or at least are acknowledging that they have some reservations, whether that's about the actual theology or the method in which it's being promoted. I think that deserves some parsing. But like particularly you and I, have so much knowledge. Like I've used the term over-churched before. It's a very useful term to me. Mm-hmm. I feel that every time I'm confronted with anything having to do with church these days. The church at large, capital C, I feel very differently about, because that's an ideal. That's something that, I think, whether you like it or not, you're part of the church because you were born into it. It's kind of like my chemical makeup. I can't help but be part of the church at large.
Yes.
Right? I represent something to people, whether I like it or not. Yeah. Do I go to church? Hell no. Mm-hmm. Do I feel like I belong in church? No.
Hell no.
I never have. And I don't feel like I ever will, but I'm not going to say never. Uh-huh. Would I like to find that ideal capital C church in a community and in a building? Of course, I would love to find that. It's not like I'm against it, but like people who say that they're not going anymore, it's different than those who say, I don't believe this anymore, right? That's not the same thing. And so I think they get like relegated to this outlier status kind of reflexively by the in-group and the in-crowd who says, oh, well, you have questions, you have doubts, that must mean you're deconstructing. No, I think it's just natural. It's normal if you're like confused or you even just have a question, seek out the answer to that question instead of like doubling down on what you're supposed to believe. Yeah. That's all that means to me. Anyway, we could go on and on, but like, I think that's important because we had talked about, what do we want to talk about this time? And you said, let's talk about your book. And I'm like, well, let's talk about your book. Cause I like, like the idea of losing faith, cause yours is it came from a dissertation, but it's like, losing faith is what you're all about. Like you have studied this, you like studiously studied this.
In a certain way. Yeah.
Yeah. But like as a doctor of psychology, like this is, and religion, like I think this is really significant, and it's part of the reasons for my deep respect and appreciation for you, and I mean, it has created our friendship. It's created this podcast. I just feel like, you were my boss for a while, but like people don't know all of the history that we're coming from and that we have. Like I'm pretty open about the fact that like I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just wanted to write, like kind of my whole life. I just wanted to write books.
Yeah.
And so it made sense for me to go toward editing. And it made sense for me to go toward Christian editing because that's where I was coming from. I was a Westmont grad. I had some of the, I had a BA so I could get hired. I had some of the credentials that I could follow that path, and I just did. So I sort of fell into it.
Yep.
But I've always wanted to write.
You fell into the boxes.
Exactly. Yeah. And now I don't. Now I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know that I even want to be called a Christian sometimes.
Yeah. The boxes. I that's a really tired metaphor. Sure. Being out of the box or in the box, or no one ever talks about being in the box. They just say, let's get out of the box. Well, let's talk about for a minute, like what does it be like? What's it like to be in the box? What is the box? Do we even know what's inside the box? Most of the time we're not talking about that.
Right.
Usually it's a phrase that's used to like disrupt, or that's not even, I don't even mean that in a good way. It's disrupt you in a bad way, I think.
Sure.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Almost as a bludgeon, like, be quiet or else you're out.
Yeah. 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 Or let's just distract ourselves from the key problem that that's really in front of us and go find other problems to solve that don't really matter that much.
There you go. Yeah. Spiritual bypassing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Let's define spiritual bypassing. When you put a memory verse on something.
But you were like, we've all fallen into the boxes. I've been thinking about this too in terms of commerce and marketplace, bureaucracy, post-industrial society. We all find our way into like the structures that are there.
Right.
And that isn't always a structure that is healthy. It may seem like millions and millions and millions of people are in those structures, but it doesn't mean that they aren't, maybe the worst version of those structures. In the United States, we're the wealthiest country in the world as we hear. Well, that probably means that some of the structures that we use are maybe the worst versions of
not exactly healthy.
The most, if there's going to be toxic capitalism, it's here.
Right. Right. And that undermines the integrity of everything.
Yeah.
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 Just morality in general.
Right.
Let alone Christianity.
So whether it's like a religious system or I think about my daughters too, and the worlds that they're trying to find their way from the college degrees that they have, the backgrounds that they have. It's sort of like you got to pick something. It's like that moment with the high school guidance counselor. Here's all the things that you can pick from.
That was the question at Thanksgiving. Yeah. What are you, what are you studying? What do you want to do?
Yeah. I was always, in the ensuing adult years, especially when my kids were younger, and I was thinking about some of these things, I guess, sort of inadvertently, I used to say to myself, I want to start keeping a list of all the jobs my high school guidance counselor never mentioned.
Yeah. Right.
You
didn't even know.
There are a ton of roles out there in the world.
Exactly.
And
more now than there used to be. Even.
Yeah. But I think about the box. So in a way, those boxes were very, I don't know, uncreatively listed in a high school guidance counselor's,
almost like there were just a few categories.
Database. Yeah.
And then maybe a couple of offshoots from that.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I went to high school in Northern Virginia, kind of like a affluent, highly educated, Washington, D.C., Beltway, transient professional society.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, that's
very specific.
Yeah. And that's where I spent my adolescent years in. It was talk about lack of identity as an adolescent. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So all you want to do is smoke pot when you grow up in a place like that.
Yep.
So that So that a lot of my fellow students at this large, successful high school that always scores really well, and it's listed in. I just noticed the other day it's listed in magazines top high schools in the country.
Right.
A lot of them would say, "Oh, I want to be an engineer."
Yeah.
Well, what the hell is that?
Right.
I mean, I don't even know what that is.
What kind?
I'm a 11th grader. I'm like, what do you mean engineer? I want to go into engineering.
Trained?
I mean, that might have been at the dawn. At that time, it might have been at the dawn of computer science.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So there was a lot of that. That phrase was around a lot. Remember
computer
that
science.
phrase? Computer science.
Yeah. Before IT.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Programming.
That was definitely not me.
Yeah, it wasn't me too. That was part of it. It was neither one of us.
We had our silly computer class.
I was good at math, but man, there was limitations there.
At least you were good at math.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why you're a publisher and I was an editor. I'm just words. I'm words only.
Yeah. But these boxes kind of, they aren't always healthy. And we can get caught up in them.
Right.
And I do wonder if now we're at a time when the boxes they're falling apart. You know, they're frayed, like an old cardboard box. Got some sun bleach here, a little bit of water damage there,
right.
A little bit of just like, you ever seen cardboard that's just, like especially like the cardboard that you store stuff in year after year. It's like it's just getting frayed from a lot of
not so useful.
Yeah, and so. I wonder about the time that we're in right now, where, maybe there's new boxes.
Yeah.
This will get old after a while. This metaphor, but it's already old. But maybe they're smaller.
Yeah. Okay.
There's more of them, and they're smaller.
Yeah.
And you can go find new ones. I think something's going on with that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's every society needs like infrastructure.
Sure.
We need people who can build roads and lay wire and set up radio towers and cell towers and wind farms and manufacture goods.
Yeah.
But it's become so. I guess when I think about it in terms of book publishing, it's become so. Mega corporate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Everything's owned by a few people.
Right.
I forgot. I saw a statistic the other day from one of my authors about how if you look at the income of the top 1% and you spread it around to everybody in the nation, everybody would have an annual salary of $1 million.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's definitely something in our era is when people talk about oligarchy and plutocracy and a lot people there's very few people who have power, and that's probably something that's gotten worse. Yep,
for sure.
And when I think about my health insurance bill, my health insurance premiums, which are definitely going up by threefold.
Wow,
with the new year. And I'm on a limited income.
Exactly. It's not like small this is easy. Yeah.
And we're going to be able to handle it, but I can think of a lot of people who aren't.
Right.
And they're going to fall off of reasonable health care.
Totally.
I think about our own kids.
No, I would not be here if Sherry didn't have a job that was doing our health care.
Yeah.
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 It's kind of always
here. You mean you have some kind of illness or something?
No. Well, yes, but I have to have health care.
Yeah,
I'm over 50. You
would be in a job where you couldn't be having a podcast.
Right. I would have to have a job. Exactly. I couldn't just shoot the breeze. Yeah. No, I think I love what you're talking about in terms of just like the boxes, and maybe there's smaller boxes, and we can kind of self-identify again in different ways.
Yeah.
And there seem to be more boxes, more options in terms of defining your identity.
Who can we be? Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, this was something I kind of brought up as a topic that we might get into. And it's that question of like, where are we going right now? Where is everything going?
I'm sure people are wondering that right now.
Yeah.
About this show.
Yeah. Where's this show going?
But you mean in general, yes.
Yeah, please don't think about that too long, reader, because you're going to stop listening. But, well, I've been, and you've been very much embedded in this evangelical space that we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
And there's a lot of criticism that goes on within that space of existing boxes, of existing institutions, of the behaviors that have gone on.
Sure.
Of the outcomes it's had on us spiritually, psychologically,
right.
physically even.
Yep.
And that's going to continue. That's not going to end. There's there's so much work to do.
Yeah.
In uncovering these systems, because these systems continue.
Right. You can say you've
deconstructed
or you want to get out of it.
Right.
But it's still in you.
Absolutely.
It's embedded.
I mean, just in the word goodbye.
Yeah.
It's a shortened version of God
be with you.
Yeah.
Right.
Now that's sort of overstating things because, phrases can take on new meanings that are detached from their origins.
Sure. And people don't use it to say that anymore.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that is where we're coming from.
It's just an example of how embedded you can be in things.
That's right.
Christmas time every year, it's a certain holiday. And there's loads of people who didn't grow up acknowledging this as a time to mark the calendar with and take time off from work because of, and so on.
Yes. All thanks to Charles Dickens.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's funny because I was thinking about all the holidays basically started as pagan rituals, right? Or as even fertility celebrations. And some of those still happen in other countries, but not here. Yeah. No, we made them all Christian at a certain point. Now they have to be Christian holidays and stay Christian holidays. Otherwise, people get mad at you.
Right.
And you're like, well, but that wasn't Christian to begin with. Like Krampus and whatever else was like. I mean, we can import from other.
Right.
Like I have roots, that I don't even know about because I'm basically a mutt. I'm an Americanized. Obviously great grandparents were immigrants, but I'm so far removed from any of that. I have to it's like pulling teeth out of my grandma to get any information from her about her parents. So I don't even know what I'm coming from, let alone in my own life, in my own experience, what was actually going on.
Right.
So to define the box I'm coming out of is part of this struggle. And when we talked about what we're going to discuss, you said, let's talk about my book. I'd say the answer to the question you had asked me, like, why are you writing? Like, where is that going? My whole reason for writing it was kind of like to figure out, what is this box? That was the whole reason I went to focus on the family as my first job. I had to convince myself to be like, okay, this is basically like you're a mole investigating where it is you come from.
Yeah.
Like if you want to understand what the box is you want out of, like understand the box first.
Yeah.
What is it? How does it operate?
Yeah.
What are the people like there? Why do you want out of it so bad?
Yeah.
Like I had to define that. And that's my first few chapters is defining the character's dissatisfaction. It's basically a Jerry Maguire beginning.
Yeah.
It's like, I am done with this. I don't want to play this game anymore. But why? What is the game that I'm trying to define here? And why is it so uncomfortable? And basically what I came up with, and I mean, it's Dr. Dobson and it's all the stuff I was raised with. But like when people hear
Dobson and Focus on the Family being an extreme version of the box.
I mean, I would say cult, but I think a lot of people
emblematic
would
of
not,
it, for sure.
I think at least fundamentalist, and however you term that, very traditional view of the family and the role of the family in society, of which if you take religion off of it, I don't disagree. Like we need structure in order to, like you're talking about different boxes and jobs that you could have. Like you need a family in order to have like a foundation. Obviously your roots matter, but like you don't have to like have all of this Old Testament Christianity put onto it. Like honor your father and mother or else God's going to smite you. Like that's basically how it's offered in that box. And I learned very, very, I spent 5 years there, but I learned very quickly that there are the ins and there are the outs. And it's kind of it's a pretty stark reminder when you walk down the halls in Focus on the Family. And I'm sure it's still this way, even after Dobson has left. But like the execs and people who are higher ups, basically, were always, I mean, obviously they were signaling this with what they wore and how they acted and behaved and the people that they would talk to. But like even walking down the hall, you do not acknowledge the execs. The execs will not acknowledge you. You do not acknowledge them.
Yeah.
You're supposed to walk on the other side, basically, in the
Yeah.
hallways. Like when I was there in the 2000s.
This is an unwritten rule, or
unwritten rule. I didn't know about this rule.
You just observed it.
I observed it, and I
non-verbally.
asked someone who was in my department in the book publishing wing, which was basically the little pirate ship that was off to the side. You know, we called ourselves, the pirates.
Pirate ship, yeah.
Because we were kind of the defectors. We were
Arrgh.
like always, railing against the people who said we couldn't do that book because it wasn't orthodox or whatever. But like I mentioned it to someone, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're not supposed to like even make eye contact with them." Basically, it's like this was an unwritten rule.
They're the priestly class.
I guess it was. It felt like that.
It's a sense of
really did
order.
Yes, it felt
hierarchy.
Like you're an underling clearly by the fact that you're not wearing, the 3-piece suit and don't have the red name badge. You have the blue one. Like it was very much a social order in that place, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing in America now.
And these are the executives that were probably doing corporal punishment to their children.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they probably did.
But you need to give them respect.
Right. And this is the thing, like you need to know your place.
Not to draw too fine a point, listeners. But.
Which if let's get back to the point, like to me, the point I'm making is it's authoritarianism. And I wouldn't say it's exclusively that, but that's a primary distinctive of the box that I'm talking about when we say fundamentalism and, however you want to term this cult.
Right.
It's like you do not question the authority of those that God has ordained to be over you.
Right.
Because if you do that, you are disrupting the order.
So what happens when you get out of that authoritarianism?
Right.
Let's say you've identified that box and you've seen this is what it is, and you've realized you've been in a structure that, structures are good, right? Well, no, sometimes structures look like they're good. They have the overall frame,
right?
But there's actual toxicity, if not outright poison.
Sure. Yeah.
And that is feasible.
Absolutely.
There are examples, obviously.
Well, and I was going to say
broad ones, giant society, nationwide ones, as well as smaller group toxicity.
Exactly.
In structure.
And you need to identify how those are affecting you.
Yeah. So what do you do when you are out of it? I think that let's look at it in just the brightest possible way for a moment. The possibilities are amazing. They're endless. It's
like you've been set free.
It's freedom. Yeah. we both came up with that word.
Absolutely.
Just now. Freedom.
It feels like what they were promising from the pulpit in church all my life that I couldn't understand.
Yeah.
What is this freedom that they're talking about? Because to me, it just feels like chains.
Right.
To me, it feels like bondage.
Yeah.
The freedom that they've been talking about only happened when I finally said, I don't agree. I don't like the way this is feeling to me. Other people might have had a different experience at Focus. That's fine. I'm not saying
freedom doublespeak. It was freedom used as a doublespeak word.
To me, it always felt oppressive. Mm-hmm. I can't deny that. I'm not supposed like my soul wasn't allowing me to deny that anymore, and I just had to get out. So you could say, well, that was your choice, and sure, I guess it was.
Well, let's put this in like a manuscript writing kind of question. We often will talk about in memoir, for example, that there's storytelling, but there's also self-observation that helps the reader find themselves within the book, within the character that you're describing, which is you in that particular memoir. One of the challenges with memoir is it's tough to sell because it's really reliant on you and your story.
Right.
And if nobody knows you and your story, then, they have to be introduced to it, and it has to be something they like. And
they might like it once they start reading it.
Yeah, but that has to be validated externally before they'll make a purchase decision of a book.
Exactly.
That's the issue at hand here.
Mm-hmm.
And there's ways of making that happen. We don't need to get into that now, but we often tell them, like even from a marketing point of view, bring more analysis into the memoir.
Good.
Bring more takeaway.
Mm-hmm.
What have you learned from this experience? Yep. You don't have to be pedantic. You don't have to come up with a 10-point system or anything like that.
Right.
But at least make observations about what you think was happening then using your voice now. And what it was maybe telling you about where you need to go.
Right.
So that comes up a lot in the books that I work on right now, especially with Lake Drive books.
Sure.
You know, I think of Catherine Spearing, who we've mentioned several times in her book, 1,000 Tiny Paper Cuts.
Yep.
The insidious, subtle nature of spiritual abuse and life on the other side, which is a phrase we underlined on the cover of the subtitle. She talks a lot about building a life once you're out of these systems of abuse. And if you get to know Catherine, she's got a lot of things going on in her life.
Yeah.
Really, you know, fun stuff like improv, kickboxing. I hope she doesn't mind me saying all this stuff.
Oh, I know.
And that's not it. There's more.
Right.
Travel. I think of Becky Garrison, whose book comes out in the end of January on
gaslighting.
It's called Gaslighting for God. Yeah. How to save yourself from a satirical guide to how to save yourself from spiritual narcissists.
Yeah.
And she takes aim at the narcissism in the boxes that we inherit, and not just evangelical, but spirituality in the United States in general.
Yeah.
I define that in the broadest sense of the term, whether it's evangelical Christian or whether it's body, mind, spirit, New Age guru types.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound so stereotypical there, but
no, it's true.
Or oversimplifying.
It's a religious mindset, right?
Yeah.
I know the right way.
But she's trying to equip readers to spot the spiritual con. And to be able to, once you do that, you can reinvest yourself in what is a healthy community. And she spends a little bit of time talking about that in the book. Sometimes that's not what people want to read about too.
Sure.
Because it's like they don't want to know what's good for them, and they just want to read about what's bad.
Well, it's helpful to identify it.
But it's there, and if you get to know Becky, she'll talk about how she's found it in craft culture in the Pacific Northwest in particular.
Very cool.
She has transitioned a lot of her writing from being in the religious space to writing about music festivals and whiskey and a whole host of things. And she talks about how she's found community in brew pubs. I think of Krista Brown, who wrote the book Baptist Land.
Right.
A woman who is well known for her story of having suffered and been the victim and survivor of clergy sex abuse in the Southern Baptist world that did not acknowledge her abuse. But she talks about how in her life now, she's in a fresh kind of paradise.
Wow.
I don't know those are her exact words. I think she uses the word paradise.
Yeah.
But isn't that something?
Yeah.
I'm just going to put it that way.
Right.
A fresh kind of paradise.
That's life on the other side.
Exactly. New kind of a paradise.
Yeah.
We're not talking about heaven here, folks. We're talking about.
Right. On earth.
She's found something.
Yeah.
Whether it's, helping her daughter and helping her granddaughter. It's sort of like, I'm living a life now.
Yeah. I think Marla Taviano would agree with this too. She was alluding to some of it last time at that episode, which I think we all kind of recognize, we being the people who have been disrupted and now are responding to that challenge with, well, I guess if you're going to call me a rebel, I am a rebel. And what does that mean?
Right.
Well, it means I'm taking back authority to make up my own mind and have my own critical thinking about things. And I'm not going to allow that to be just taken away from me because someone says that they heard from God on high that they're my authority figure. I guess I'm in a different camp now. And identifying that was really important to me in my sort of deconstruction journey, whatever that means. Does that mean that I'm continually going to be a rebel and I'm never going to, submit to any authority? Well, I'm probably already submitting to a lot of authority in my life. I've just decided that they're trustworthy. I know what that means now. I know how to evaluate something that I didn't know how to before. I was just given what makes something trustworthy, and I had never tested it for myself before.
Right, because submitting to authority in the best sense of that phrase is structure.
Right.
It's
necessary.
It's shared governance.
Yes.
It's shared experience.
I would say necessary and needed in everyone's life to have some sort of authority guiding them and even deciding a lot of the decisions that, it's very taxing and tiring to have to lead yourself in every single way. So you need some sort of authority. You need to be able to
But in our
trust
background, we were always told it has to be the triune God.
No, right. And what does that mean? Well, that means a human being who's interpreting what that triune God says.
Right.
That's what that means.
But that feels like such a limited.
And I was like, no, a lot of people will say this. Well, then go to the Bible directly.
Yeah.
Because then you're not getting a human interpretation.
Which never really talks
That's
about
not
the
true.
Trinity. Yeah.
You're still importing a whole lot of interpretation that you need to deconstruct.
It's such coded language, the triune God. What does that even mean?
And good luck. People who say they read the Bible and they became a Christian, I'm just like, good luck with that. Because if you read the whole Bible and you became a Christian, I defy you to make sense of it.
But what
on your own.
How would you name the authorities that you do submit to now?
Right. Now there's an interesting question, because what does that mean? And what is...
It's very stark language, submitting to an authority. We could probably say it other ways, but...
That's bringing back some Dobson stuff for me.
What systems do you ascribe to?
Yeah.
What systems do you participate in?
Sure.
That are healthy?
I would say, so, if we're talking spiritually, I'm going to go with love. Where do I sense that I am loved? And how do I understand? How do I know what love is? Love is still what I see in Jesus, laying down your life for that person. Being able to say, what I want doesn't matter, what you want matters. And this is a very existential, golden rule based understanding of love for me. Right. It's I want what's best for you.
Right.
What I see most in the world, even when people say they love you, they're still being motivated by a very selfish aim. And that's a difficulty that I had from the very beginning, when my parents wanted to indoctrinate me and saying that it was love.
How would you put it? Try to take it outside of that frame. How would you put ascribing to love in a broader social venue?
Sure. we could talk politically, but I think just with friends, with people who are interested in you. I think it was John Updike who said he's probably only friends with people who actually find him interesting, because we respond to people who are interested in us. And that's just the way we are as human beings. But there's often, if you get to talking with someone, there's often this point at which it's I feel like they're doing more of the talking, and it's more about themselves than it is about me. They're not really interested in who I am.
Yes.
They don't really want to make a connection with me. They just want someone to talk to. And it's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not love. That's
how many of those
narcissism.
Relationships do you have? Yeah.
A lot.
Do we all have?
A lot. I'm why does it always feel like I'm giving out and not gaining anything from it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's happened a lot in our lives, right? So I feel like Christians will typically have this bait and switch where we're taught, at least in evangelicalism,
right,
be someone's friend so that you can lead them to Jesus. And that's having an agenda. And I had to get away from that kind of thinking, even when it was really covert and subtle. It was still trying to lead someone in the way of faith. Yeah. And I just felt like that's a very selfish aim. Ultimately, you care about their soul, but it's you want for them what you have. To me, that's do you want to learn from them? Do you want anything for them to ask you? Because you could learn something from everyone if you had that mindset, right?
But okay, so let's just push this a little further. How do you ascribe to that outside of strong ethical human relationships, which is what you just described?
Yeah.
There's things I'll just go into. Let's just talk about we all get our licenses at the Division of Motor Vehicles. We all submit to that authority.
Right. If you want to drive.
And we tend to think that there's absolutely nothing of spiritual value in something like that.
Right.
There's no the DMV is the last place where you're going to go have a spiritual experience. But what if that wasn't true? I was at the DMV to get my license renewed because it had been long enough that I hadn't had my picture redone.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I had to sit there. I had my waiting time to be called up.
Took your number
and to just sit there and see the different kinds of people who came in. And I always
that's fascinating.
I kind of wondered for a minute, like, well, okay, where's all like, I know there's like some really wealthy people in this town. I don't see anyone like that here. Yeah. You know, where are those people?
Don't they have to renew their license?
Or I don't see, you know, maybe it was just the hour or the day of the week when I was there. But is there, you know, but that is a system that we ascribe to.
Sure. That give authority to.
We give authority to that creates structure for our lives.
Mm-hmm. People are bound to the rules of the road by it.
Right. It creates order. It creates goodness. Mm-hmm. It helps us. It creates a sense of cooperation. And yet we don't give it, and it brings us together in a way too.
Right.
And especially even if it's in the DMV office.
Yeah.
But we don't ascribe any metaphysical or spiritual importance to it.
Sure.
As something of value.
Well, it felt like that when I was 16.
Spiritual, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was
Rite of passage.
I am free.
Yeah.
That was my first experience of like feeling,
oh
my gosh, I'm going to have this little bubble I can ride around in by myself and nobody else can tell me what to do in it.
Right. I think it's like when we grew up evangelical, there was always this separation between us and the world. Mm-hmm. And we could never, you know, like I'm one of my other authors talks about how her family shunned public libraries.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Or I was listening. I was channel surfing on the radio the other day, and I came across a conservative Catholic broadcast, and the priest was talking about the ACLU owned public schools.
Oh, like, wow! What? They don't own schools, but they're influenced.
So we were taught to sort of fear the public space.
Yeah,
it is of the
totally.
world.
That's right.
And
set yet, apart. That's what Christians are.
And yet there's something there that is valuable. Mm-hmm. Like, put down your Bible for a minute, everybody. You know, don't go to church for a moment. Stop going and show up in a civic space,
right? Because
that's valuable too.
Yeah.
There's like a moral horizon there as well. And how do we engage with that? Well, maybe it doesn't replace church, but how is church pulling you away from
exactly
that world and that life? How much money are you giving the church when you probably ought to be paying taxes?
Time, attention,
Mr. or Mrs. Rich
money,
person.
all of your resources are tied up. You are not free to give in the world because you are giving at church. Yeah, totally.
Right.
That's your ministry.
We've gotten a long way from like kickboxing and improv that Catherine
I
Spearing
think this
does,
is good because that's what then
but you're out
you
in
go toward.
Getting us out into the world with interests.
Yeah.
With
bird watching and mushroom hunting is what I've chosen.
Right.
Yeah.
Investing in our communities.
Yeah.
With our time, treasure, and talents.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. 3 T's.
Yeah.
The other Trinity.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know. And I think we can invest in so many more ways when you're not tied down to what someone else says the structure of your spiritual existence has to look like.
So it's investment not just in self.
Right.
Like I do need to get away from these structures, and I need to find out who I am and find out what interests me, because I was never really allowed to have an interest.
Yep.
Like I wasn't allowed to pursue a lot of different kinds of things. Mm-hmm.
But valuing yourself.
Like some of my friends in high school, knew about things like, rock music.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even know anything about it.
I'm
like, whoa, you can like this stuff? That's okay. Yeah. Try it out.
That's a valid experience.
Yeah.
In life.
There's art there.
There's spiritual meaning in these songs. Yeah. So investing yourself in other ways.
But also in society. You're investing in what's interesting to you, but also you're engaging with others.
Exactly.
At the same time.
It's not just a selfish pursuit. Yeah. That's right. If you go far enough in any of these pursuits, you'll find a community.
Yeah.
And that it is about sort of bonding and connecting with that community. There's a friend of Sherry's who does a bug night at Speciation Ales here nearby, and I'm giving her free ad now, but I think they just had another one. But every time she does it, there's more people that show up and they're running out of room because it's like some nerdy pursuit of like finding out about the bugs in your local area. And like who knew there were so many budding entomologists, but like there are. And you just put something out there and then people can be like, hey, I like that weird thing too.
Yeah.
That's the time we're in right now, folks.
Oh, and
it's exciting.
Yeah. I have to tell you, we were talking about the Talking Heads and David Byrne, who's having like his third or fourth comeback.
Sure.
And it's a big one this time.
It's a big one.
It seems like I'm seeing him everywhere.
Not like last time. He's back again.
Yeah. But I love it. And I was just remarking about how, he's just so nerdy and weird.
Totally. Always been.
And one of my daughters said from the back seat, we were driving back from somewhere. She said, I think we're in a time where people crave weird.
That's true.
I was like, oh my gosh.
People crave weird. Do you hear that, Robin? So my friend Robin Horn, who's going to be a famous author someday.
Yeah.
I'm trying to convince her very slowly. Listens to our podcast like faithfully.
Oh,
and
thank you.
Used to hear weird as a put down, right? It is, most of the time used as a put down.
Yeah.
Freak, weirdo, misfit, outlier, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You're outside of our box. And we want to, it's basically a pecking order thing. Right?
Hierarchy, authoritarianism.
We want to now
bullying,
shun you, beat you up, whatever it is. And we're going to say you're weird.
We have all those voices in our heads.
Yeah. But we are in a time right now when the world has been so disrupted in so many ways that people are looking for new meaning, new identity, new structure. A lot of people are going towards some pretty bad stuff. Let's go toward the good stuff, folks. I want to encourage the community of people who have self-identified as book readers.
Yeah.
In any way, shape, or form, whatever that looks like. Yes, comic books are books. Please come to our party. Yeah. If you have an interesting,
you're having a comic book party?
Weird interest. Oh. Well, just they're invited to the party.
Oh, okay.
Because they're real books too.
Party in general.
Graphic novels are real books.
Yeah.
Right. Kids books.
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of books you read. If you're a bookie person, you've got weird interests. You need to put those out there and share them with the world, because being a weirdo is exactly what we're talking about. You're not allowed to be a weirdo in the box, because people will, pigeonhole you and say, "Oh, you don't belong here." Well, then get out of that box. Like, clearly, that's not where you are finding your identity. Like, you want to find a new identity somewhere. There's plenty of other boxes out there.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're evil or you're a heathen or you're going to hell for some, interest that you have. Find out more about that interest and
crave it. Such
your
a great
life
word.
Is finite.
Yeah.
You're not going to be here forever.
Specifically for Robin, what was the advice?
Oh, yeah. No, like accept the idea.
Don't leave Robin hanging.
Sorry, Robin. The idea that if you're weird, embrace it. Embrace your weirdness. The more you do that, the more you follow that curiosity, the more you're going to find where you do truly belong. And you're going to be able to identify a box that you didn't even know existed before.
Yeah.
Maybe it exists already. Maybe it doesn't. You could create a new box.
Right.
But it's
valuing curiosity over content.
To me,
it's the dynamic of curiosity matters more than, and you'll find
that matters more,
and you'll recognize others for whom it matters more, regardless of the content.
It matters more than people who have said, this is a box I want to belong to, and you need to belong to this box too, and it's really important, and I'm going to assert my dominance over you, or internalized authoritarianism to say that you should submit to this box.
Yeah. Anyone
doing that to you, fuck them right out.
Yeah.
That is not allowed anymore. And I'm sorry I use that word very rarely.
Yeah, yeah.
But seriously, these people do not love you.
You said it calmly. Your face is still the same color and everything.
Yeah, so. That's good. Well, they need to be fucked off in love, obviously. But I think we need to give people permission to self-identify and to say, okay, this is who I want to be in the world.
Yeah.
And even if it's wrong, they're going to find it out. Give them a little while to figure out that whether they belong in that box or not. But anyone telling you that you have to belong to a certain box, that needs to be questioned. I feel like that's not okay.
So for an author who's writing a memoir, how do they come across craving weird, showing curiosity? Mm-hmm. Is that what we want to see in books that we publish going forward? Let me just put it that way.
Oh, that's a great question.
What do I want to see?
That
I want to know. I want to know where to go. Mm-hmm. And I think these authors, with their experiences, can help us see that. I think that is the job of the writer.
Right.
Is to help us envision. It's kind of like why we do this podcast, because together we we were creating a dialectic where we're trying to figure things out.
That's right.
And hoping the listeners come along with us.
Sure. Like if you feel something when we're talking, there's a reason for that, right? And you want to invest that in some important way. First off, I would say like for a memoirist specifically, it's got to be about you first. Like you need the permission to be able to say, this is for me to figure out my story for myself.
Yes.
Like you're not writing a memoir for anyone else.
Right.
At a certain point, yes, it does become more of an edit, like considering what the reader needs and what you need and sorting those two things out. And then if it's for you, like put it aside and, not everything. I mean, obviously there's just a universal journey you're trying to find there.
Right.
And I think as the edit process takes over, it's more like, is this universal? Does this speak to everyone or is this particular to me?
So if you can find, the word that's coming to my mind is transcendence.
Good.
If you can find what's transcendent about your story, then you will be connecting with what other people are, the transcendent other people are also seeking.
And people misread this all the time if they haven't done this process. They haven't tried to write a memoir, but the more specific it is, sometimes the more universal it also is. So I'm not saying take out all specificity because we need that in the story to be interested in it.
Right.
But like, it's got to connect to something else. Like you might not have had the exact same experience as someone, but you can relate to it. And I think that's where we're drawing the line there. So if you're looking for how do you define like a new box out of the memoir that you're writing, I think this applies to any book that you're writing, honestly.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? What am I after? What am I looking for? I would say it's the freedom, right? Not necessarily just a question, because you might be starting there. Like in my book, I was starting there. Like, should I even accept this permission to question the box that I've been in forever?
Yeah.
That's where I started. Other people might be starting further down the line or even earlier. Like, who am I in the world?
Yeah.
Like, that might be where you're starting. Or you might be starting like even further down where it's like, I've already identified the box I don't want to be a part of, but I feel like sort of lost in the world, like a misfit, and I need some sort of structure or organization principle to figure out where I belong. Like, I think a memoir is typically going to be about that journey.
Right.
Journey to find freedom in who you truly are. And that, takes many forms.
How do you describe that? And are you staying in the narrative the whole time? Are you backing away?
Yeah, not necessarily.
Are you, I talked about this earlier where you're using your observational voice.
Right. Reflecting on your own life from outside of yourself. Yeah, that's really good.
Right. And maybe you're doing it in a specific context, but you're still providing that reflection, that reflective, dynamic.
Exactly. Looking back is often necessary. You may not have specific flashbacks or something to your past, but you're going to be talking probably about your parents at some point.
Right.
Or at least, their influence on you, I would say. And that's what makes it very fraught with peril. It's difficult because you don't want to ride anyone under the bus or, there's things that have to be done. But I would say, again, Anne Lamott will always tell you as a memoirist that she had to get over the fact that, if people wanted to be written about warmly and lovingly, well, they should have behaved better. Right? And it's true.
Yeah.
Like, you have to tell yourself, like, look, if this happened to me, it's my story.
Yeah.
That's for me to tell. Even the interpretation of it, the way it felt to me matters. And you've got to say that needs sharing, that has to be expressed.
Yeah.
Now, how you express that can be softened or changed, or even names changed, whatever. And that typically is better to be done in the edit process.
Yeah. I do think getting to that transcendent observation, it doesn't have to be just one thing. It can be a series of things. Maybe they lead up or they say one big thing, but I think that takes time with your manuscript.
Yeah.
Looking at it, going back and forth with it, and then looking at it and going, oh my God, I can't believe I just realized what's happening here.
That's right.
And
that will happen over and over.
And then actually putting that into words.
Yeah.
Even though you're kind of exhausted and it might happen like in an editing process.
Sure.
Like you're going through the
more
manuscript.
More often than not.
Like you're going through the manuscript, even like at least the second time, if not the third or fourth time, you're going through it and going, oh,
you didn't realize what's
going on.
Yeah.
I need to put that in here.
Yeah. Or it takes someone pointing it out to you.
Yeah.
Being like, I really like how you phrase that.
That's what I do when I'm editing. More. Yeah, I do that a lot. I'm like,
they don't see what they've written.
Yep. There's something really important happening here. I want to hear you talk about this more in your own words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they don't realize it's unusual or interesting. And you go, okay, well, but dig into that some more and tell me more.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily that all of that's going to be useful, but it's useful to the person who's writing it.
Well, I so badly want all this to like point to like a clear, defined set of rules for how we're supposed to live our lives now.
That's probably just internalized box for you.
We're almost at an hour now.
You have to reject that.
It's the internalized box thinking.
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
Seems like it. Like just for like kicks and giggles, let's not do that.
Yeah.
Let's let people figure out what they want to take from
process.
This. Yeah. If you're in that process, stay in the process. It's not comfortable. It's supposed to be not comfortable. Why do we think life needs to be comfortable?
Yeah.
I don't know, but we do. So
well, I do think there's the freedom.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of,
because that's on the other side.
There's the paradise to embrace, and it is existing here in the now.
Yeah, that's good too. Right.
And I think sort of naming what that is.
There's freedom right here and now as well.
Take a moment to acknowledge it, even if it's fleeting.
Look at that. I feel like you just sort of like brought it all together there. You couldn't help it.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
We'll maybe have more of a point next time. So
no.
Or not.
Yeah.
But if you're still in process, stay there and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Get all you can from it because it's for you. And we'll catch you next time.
Awesome.